Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode I show you how to use an amazing plugin that just came out called Tonality Pro, how to make dramatic black and white. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramelli, I'm a French photographer living in the beautiful city of Paris, France. And I make 2 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to get the raw files plus some special texture files that I will offer for free if you subscribe to my newsletter, and click here if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In last episode I showed you how to take a video and retouch it using Adobe Camera Raw. It's a new option and it takes video retouching to a whole new level because you know there is nothing more powerful than Adobe Camera Raw to retouch something. Alright, in this week's episode, Macphun came out with a new plugin called Tonality Pro, which I just tried. It's been out for a while, but I just tried it this week and it's really powerful. It's the best black and white plugin that I've seen so far. This is the before photo and this is some of the final results that I'm going to get. What's amazing about this plugin is that if you only have Lightroom and you don't have Photoshop, you can do things that you would really need Photoshop for. So let me show this to you. To do the tutorial that we're going to do today, you need this special plugin. And the best way to get it is to go to photosearch.com, you go to news, you go to Macphun, and there you have a link where you can get 10% off all their plugins, either by individual plugins like Tonality, Intensity, Snap Hill, Focus 2, or FX Photo Studio, or you can buy Creative Plus Kit, which is all their plugin and it's really worth it. And then you get 30% plus an additional 10% if you use the code PhotoSearch on checkout. Make sure you do use PhotoSearch. It helps support this podcast and you will get 10%. The best of both worlds. Let's get started. All right, so today I'm going to make a little demonstration of a new plugin that came out from Macphun, which is really cool guys. And they came up with a new plugin called Tonality Pro. Last week, I was shooting this very old village in Brittany. It's an 1850 something village that has been restored and public, can visit it. And so I went out, when where the crowd was with a speaker, so that no one was in the village, to take a few photos. And, because it's an old village, I think it really screams for a good black and white treatment. And I think Tonality Pro is probably the best black and white plugin out there. And you will see why in a sec. So I'm not going to do much in Lightroom. Just open the whites, open the shadows, bring down the highlights, which is my usual workflow. And then I'm going to do my blacks and my whites, which if you follow my tutorials, you know that I do a lot. I'm not going to desaturate it. So, basically I just got all my values of my histogram to be well distributed. And I could do it in Tonality Pro. It's just a habit. I do it here. Okay. So, and we have the warnings for the blacks. So that's, not much. I might, maybe just do a little lens correction because I like how Lightroom does that. And that's it. Now I'm going to right click, edit in Tonality Pro. So edit to copy with Lightroom adjustment. Now what I love about this, and you will see this, is for people that only have Lightroom and don't have Photoshop, they can do things which you could only do in Photoshop before. And it's just a really cool workflow. Now it's a big software, so I'm not going to show you the entire scene. Plus I'm learning it myself. And but you will see why I like it. So as we start off, we already have a black and white photo. They have some amazing preset here, and what I love about it is how, they have the basic preset, architecture, portraits, dramatic, outdoor, street, vintage. So let's look at a few like dramatic, 300 bright, 300 baby blues, beach warm. I mean, some of the preset and what they do, dramatic dark, is really cool. Let's look at, for example, HDR presets. HDR classic, HDR only red, HDR smooth, HDR strong. Now, I don't like to use presets so much because I like to know what I'm doing, but that was just to show you that they have some really cool presets. Let's look at the toning ones. Antique, copper selenium, copper strong. And I'll show you how we can use the preset in your own workflow. So for now, let's reset this to the basics. And The cool thing about it, it's got layers and it's got local retouching tools, which I really love. This is a very high resolution file, by the way, 7360 by 4912 from the good old Sony A7R. So very high res file, which I'm giving you with some texture that I'm going to give you, which is, you will see why in a sec, which is really cool. So exposure, they have two sliders, standard and adaptive. I actually like what the adaptive is doing on this, and all I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to lower the exposure a little bit. Maybe on the clarity and structure. Now they have clarity like in Lightroom, but they also have structure like we used to have in Nik software, and I really like that. So I'm going to add an overall clarity just a little bit and an overall structure. But that's all that I'm going to do for my basic retouching, because now I want to get into the the really cool, more local things. So this is just my basic stuff. So I'm going to go to layers, and layer 0, I'm going to call it basics. All right. And what I've done now, I'm happy with it. And now I want to continue. So I'm going to click on plus to create a new layer. So now what I'm going to do on that layer is only going to be affecting that one layer. And what am I going to do with it? I'm going to play around with clarity and structure first. So I'm going to add a lot of clarity, and I'm going to add a lot of structure. Now that really gets the photo very well structured. But the thing is, I don't like what it does to everything. I only want it on that wall a little bit. Maybe it's a bit too strong. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people do when they retouch the photo on clarity and structure, is that they put it everywhere. It just makes a very grungy look overall. So once I've decided, okay, I've done this clarity, I've done this structure, it has, affected my entire photo. If I click here on the brush, now the effect that I just did has disappeared because it's going to use a mask. And now when I'm going to paint, it's only going to do the structure and the clarity that I've put only on where I paint. I don't want it on the rocks. I don't think it's nice. Maybe just on that first house there. I don't want it on what's on the background. I only want it on this foreground and this foreground. And check it out. You can see here, there is a little mask. There is a little mask. Let me see if I can show you. No. There is a little mask here. And you see there is white. So wherever there is white, this is where I painted. Actually, if you go here on the left, you can show the mask. You can see I painted here and there. I just wanted some clarity there. And if I would click on fill, it would fill the entire mask. So it would put this effect everywhere. If I invert, it's going to invert the mask. If I clear, it's going to take the mask out. Now, I just wanted to show you that I painted. So now I'm going to call this layer clarity. And I'm done with that layer. Okay, next, I'm going to click a new layer, plus. And I'm going to go on a really cool option that they have, because I think it's the only plugin that has clarity and structure, but it's also one of the only plugins I remember that they have a glow. Now, if I boost glow, what glow is going to do is, well, make things glow. It makes like there is a little haze. Now, I'm trying to give depth to this photo. So I want the haze to only be on the back. So that's fine. I already have the brush selected. I can just, boom, click on the brush and give a little haze just on that one last house. I'm just trying to get depth here. Now let's see how my mask is. Now I went too much here. I don't want it there. So if you want to erase, you can just take the rubber and the eraser. We call that the rubber in French. I'm not sure you call that. And I can just take it out. I just wanted a bit of glow there. So let me take that out. So I added a glow. I have clarity and added a glow. I'm just trying to give dimension. Now, that day I was very sad. I was very sad because there was no clouds. And it was, it was just pure white. And even so, we did the highlights. There's no clouds coming up. We only have thing coming up is a little sensor dust, which we'll erase later in Photoshop. So, but check that out. They have an amazing feature called texture overlay. Now, when you click here, select it. Oh, sorry. Let me just make a new layer. Let's call this one glow, and let's make a new layer. Okay. And on this layer, I'm going to go to texture, select texture. Now they have really cool stuff. Like if I want to have a paper texture that I can, you increase the amount here, and you can see there is like a paper texture, making like an old photo, which I might use at the end to make it like an old photo. It's really cool. They have different type of paper. Right now I'm doing it at plus 71. I can do it less so that it's less obvious, but it's just you can see what's going on. But check this out, and this is crazy. They have load custom texture, and I'm offering for free, if you're following this podcast, some clouds that I'm giving you. So here is the clouds. Bad weather. Okay, let's take bad weather. I'm offering you 4 high definition cloud texture that you can use with this software for free. All you have to do is subscribe to my newsletter. Isn't that crazy? Okay, bad weather number 4. Bad weather. Oh, let's check bad weather number 4. Click on open. Now, bad weather number 4 now is being put on the top of the photo, so it looks really weird. However, if I change the blend mode to multiply, check this out. The whole clouds is being put everywhere. Now, it's kind of weird on this one. It doesn't work really well. I mean, it does a bit of cloud, and clouds is being added here. Let's check another one. Let's load another texture. Bad weather. Let's check this one. Bad weather. This one's much darker. See what's going to happen. Let's put this on multiply. Okay, it's adding a little bit of texture. I'm not sure I like this one so much. Let's check another one. I mean, you have to, oh, let's check this one. Oh yeah, that's a daylight. I mean, it's a daylight clouds. This could be a bit better. Let's put it into multiply. It adds a bit of cloud, but I'm not sure I like this one. So you have to find the right texture for the right photo. Let's check this one's out. This one's could do the trick. The last ones, let's put this always in multiply. Yeah, this one does the trick. You see, it adds a lot of clouds there. I just wanted a bit of clouds, a bit of drama, mesdames et messieurs. You know, what is a photo without drama? It's boring. So, but of course, it's too strong, so I'm going to lower that. And I actually like what it does here on the buildings. I don't like what it does here on the way. Everywhere else, I kind of like what it does. You know, it complexifies the light, so it can be cool. But so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to erase a little bit here. So I'm going to take my eraser, and the opacity of the eraser, I'm going to put it around 22%. I just want to erase a little bit of the effect here on the pass. On the pass. Okay. So now I'm happy with that. Now I added a bit of texture. So let's call this layer clouds, and let's move on. Let's move on to continue the retouching. Now I want to close the photo, so I added a new layer. I want to close the photo, and I want to make some adjustments. So let me show you this amazing new tool, which is the well, they have it. This is not very new. You have this in Lightroom. I'm going to lower the overall exposure, right? But then I'm going to take this, the gradient tool, and so it's only going to do that. It's only going to do that on a gradient. If I show you the gradient, this is the gradient. It's like Lightroom. You can make it big, small, you know. But I want to do my entire retouching there. So I'm actually going to even lower this. I'm just going to get some drama. As usual, I'm going to click apply. I think I'm going to make another one. I'm going to make another one on top. I always like to make 2 gradients on the sky. I always like to make 2 gradients. I'm just trying to close the photo, and I'm going to click apply. I'm going to make another one. This one I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to put it just at the bottom. I just want to close the photo, as we say. Close the photo so that here on top, it's a bit darker, and here at the bottom, and if you think the overall effect is too strong, you can just lower, I'm going to click on apply here. I can just lower the effect of that layer, you know, something like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to call this, it's my own vignetting. Of course, they have their own vignettings too. They have, of course, an amazing vignetting, but I like to play around with my own vignettes, but sometimes I just add a bit of their vignette too on top of it. Well, size. And that's a bit similar to what there is in Lightroom, but they have a bit more, options there. So we added a little vignette. Okay, now I want to do a bit of dodge and burn. So let's click a new layer that we're going to call dodge and burn. You know, a good black and white without dodge and burn is not a good black and white. So dodge and burn, how do you do this on this? Well, I'm going to add exposure. All right. And I'm going to add some glow. I like to add some glow on my dodge and burn, just a little bit of glow. Okay, so now the effect is everywhere, right? So now I'm just going to click on the brush. On the software, I'm going to make sure the softness is the whole way to 100. And I'm just going to add maybe, so if, as I'm going to click here, for example, on the way, it's only going to add the dodge and bird on the way. I want to add a little bit here, just a little bit on that wall, and a little bit on that wall maybe. You can actually add, I think I'm going to add a bit more strength to this. I'm going to add a little bit more of exposure, so it's a bit more visible. I'm trying to guide the eyes of the viewer so it goes inside of the photo, and I'm trying to complexify the light as usual a little bit. Okay, yeah, something like that, just a little bit of dodge and burn. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to add a new layer, and this time I'm going to do a tint, and you should do that always at the end. And this time I'm going to use their presets. I'm going to go to toning. Well, I'm already at toning, and I can just use one of the presets up. Copper Strong, or Gold Selenius. I think Copper Strong works really well with that photo. Check this out. Now let me show you the before. That's the before. That's the after with all the retouching. We added sky, we added dodge and burn, we added selective clarity, we added glow, we directed the eyes of the viewer at the end. All right. So tint, I'm happy. And then last, I might do like an overall thing. Now, when you add, let me see, always make sure the tint is on top. Okay, the tint is on top. And on the overall, I just might do some contrast. Now they have an amazing contrast option. They have the standard, but they have the smart contrast. And I think smart contrast is smart. It does a contrast different in Lightroom. It's pretty cool. I think I'm going to bring down some of the highlights a little bit and contrast the midtones a bit more. And yeah, and contrast a little bit the shadows, or make the shadows a bit darker. You know, that's very similar to what we have in Lightroom, but I always like to do this at the end. So let me show you the before. That's the before. That's the after. You know, I was trying to get for an antique look. Now at the end, to really make it like an antique look, I could add some paper. I think I've used up all the layers because I cannot add one. I'm still learning the software, but I really love it. I mean, what you can do with it is pretty impressive. And at the end, I could go to select texture and put a little paper texture on the top of it to just, you know, make it a bit oldish. I could even put it in multiply, you know, and just make it like an old photo, sort of. Let's see if there is another paper like this one. Yeah, just something like this. It's kind of cool, you know, just a little bit of an old paper feeling to it. So it's adding another texture, you know, and voila. So that's the before, and that's the after. And I think I want to add some more. I'm going to go back to these overall things, and I'm going to add some more smart contrast to make it even more pop. Something like this. Well, at this point, I would sort of let it rest and see how it goes. Let me show you again the before and after. Before and after, you know, just trying to get this old look and getting the eyes to move and going to the end of the picture. Maybe the overall exposure is a bit, maybe I'll lower the exposure. I just want to go really for a dramatic look of this sort of old village. Okay, so this software is really, really cool, and I hope you like it. And I would just, so to finish off, I would just click on apply. And you can still, if you're very familiar with Lightroom, it's going to import back in Lightroom, and you can, you know, you can even finesse it even more. In Lightroom, for example, the spot here, I don't think they have a spot removal tool within that plugin. So I would do that in Lightroom. So let me show you that. It's going to process back there. So there we are, back in Lightroom. So we started from this, and we are here. I can just use the spot removal tool and take that spot out, and voila. And I could continue, you know, doing some retouching there, but I kind of like the result. Maybe, I don't know, add some Lightroom contrast, add some clarity contrast again. You know, it's just going back and forth between the software. You can really, because there are really things that you can do nowhere else than in that plugin. So maybe that part's a bit bright for me, but you know, you get the idea. Let me show you some of other photos I did of this village using that plugin. So this is another example that I did using the exact same photo with different clouds. This is another one that I did using different clouds. So I really love that plugin, and check it out. And I'll see you in another episode. Au revoir. All right, I hope you're going to check out their products. Macphun is making really amazing plugins for Lightroom, for Photoshop. It's really tools you need to have. And I will see you in another episode. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.